Hello, this is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. Go ahead and put your questions in the comments now so that I can answer your questions. It's good to be here to see you all today, and I really want to go ahead and answer some questions. But I also want to tell you about a really good benefit of the T visa. So if you follow me, you know that I talk a lot about the T visa. It's a good time to apply for it. And I am evaluating everyone's qualifications for the T visa. Now, we got some good news. So we have, I think, over 200 pages of T visa updates that have been made to the T visa policy, but it's looking like positive changes for it, and it's positive changes to reduce barriers to those who have been mistreated by certain individuals and employers in order to get the T status. So, for example, one very big change that I've seen is when we're applying for this application, we have to show that our client will experience extreme hardship if they have to go back to their country. And now they have made it easier by also showing, because many of my clients, many individuals who have been mistreated by employers or other individuals who have been the victim of trafficking, they have family members here. Um, and so those family members will experience extreme hardships. But before, we were not able to really emphasize the hardships of other relatives of our clients because that was not what was going to get them to T visa. They just wanted us to focus on the hardships of our clients. Now, hardships, extreme hardships could be health issues, it could be being deprived of certain services here in the United States compared to being in their country. However, now we can show that children of our clients will experience extreme hardship, that spouses of our children will experience extreme hardship, parents of our clients will experience extreme hardship as well. Well, keep in mind that the standard is not that the relative will experience hardship, extreme hardship, but we can now look at the extreme hardship or the hardships of the relatives to show how it's going to impact our client. So, for example, it's going to impact their well being if they are away from their children or if they have to take their children back to a country that can't provide a safe place for their children. So that is a very big change, and it makes it easier for us to present our clients' cases. And so, that is one thing. And I'm evaluating the other changes, but these changes are now there to reduce the barriers for victims of trafficking, of mistreatment, and so I am with it. These changes are going into effect in August. Right now, we are still getting approvals for our clients. We're getting results for our clients. So if things are going good, and it looks like it's going to get even better. I know we have the election looming, and with all of our participation, because this is not luck here, we have to all participate. Those of you who are U.S. citizens have to participate in the voting process to make sure that the changes, the positive changes to policies, uh, can continue. I know I've had to give you all bad news, and I've had to talk about a lot of negative things happening, and not a lot of negative policy changes that are trending. But this is one positive change, and it's a positive change that will help immigrants who are here, who have no other options and need to get status. Another important benefit here is that we've gotten for our clients that I've been talking to our individuals today about in my appointments with people that were trying to figure out qualify for T status is if you've had a past violation and there's no waiver for that violation, guess what? Where you can get forgiven for the violation through the T visa. We've gotten it for our clients. So I'll give you an example. One of our clients was charged with this very, very serious immigration violation, misrepresentation, and fraud. Whenever anybody is charged with, and it's not a criminal charge, but under immigration law, can be criminal, but it's clearly different. Under immigration, when an officer says you've committed fraud or immigration fraud or misrepresentation, it results in a lifetime bar from getting a green card. And so that means no way. Well, you can get a waiver in this case. In some cases you can't get a waiver. Some cases it's really hard. Another maybe say using a U.S. citizen's passport. They call it false claim to U.S. citizenship. If you've had a history like that, there is no waiver for it. In very, very, very extremely limited circumstances can you get a waiver in any other case. But under the T status, we are able to get the waivers, and we've gotten these waivers approved for our clients, and they all have status. And guess what, too? Once they forgive it under the T status, they grant the T status, you're able to move forward with getting the green card, despite having this past violation. So the forgiveness also goes into getting your green card once you're a T status holder. So it is a very, very valuable form of relief, and we're seeing positive changes that's helping us to advocate for our clients and helping people to understand that they can get relief based on mistreatment. And so I was talking to a lot of people about these benefits, especially people today that I met who have had these issues, who have had misrepresentation in their past and false claim to U.S. citizenship. This can be a pathway for them when they qualify for it. So we're aiming to talk to as many people as we can in order to be able to let them know that they qualify for this relief and they can get it. There is a way. All right, so now that I've talked to you about what the things that are on my mind, I want to see what's on your mind. I want to be able to answer your questions, and I see a lot of questions coming in. So let's go ahead and answer some questions. Petition withdrawn, I-130 and I-485 was denied. We went for interview before she withdrew. Can I file for VAWA? You may be able to, it depends on the circumstances. Sometimes, what happens is that petitioner's spouse is intentionally meant to sabotage your process and really did not mean for you to get the green card. And so they sabotage the interview process as well. If that's the case, then you may very well qualify for VAWA, and you can move forward with another adjustment of status application. This is what we do. So give us a call. Let's evaluate what the circumstances are, and then I can confirm you qualify, and we can get started right away. I-130 approved long time ago, but I-485 still pending, almost 2 years. So, whenever I see the I-130 approved and then the I-485 is lagging behind, it makes me wonder why, whether you do qualify for adjustment of status. So this is where you need to get legal advice for sure. So got approved for the green card, but didn't get the physical card for 3 months. Call USCIS, see what's going on with the card, see if it got lost in the mail. How can I get my work permit? There are multiple ways to get the work permit. You do have to qualify for an immigration benefit or a form of relief. And this is where the consultation is very important. Go to the link in the profile and you'll be able to click on the link. You can go to the website where you'll see the number to call. You can go to the link to schedule your own appointment, to get on my calendar or get on Attorney Bria's calendar. So there are two of us that are evaluating our clients for their eligibility for the work permit. I'm so sorry, and you're definitely in my prayers. Can my son apply for his dad after 11 years deported for DUI? It's possibly maybe possible, but we'd have to see. Does your dad or does the father qualify for a waiver? What was the issue and what caused the deportation? I know you said DUI. Usually, one DUI doesn't result in a deportation, so we'd have to figure out what's going on there and whether there's a waiver that needs to be filed. Do you need an attorney to file for a U visa? I highly recommend it, definitely. Now, in anything you do, an attorney is not required, but you wouldn't necessarily do just anything without an attorney. You'd want to have your best chances. The same goes for immigration law. You want to make sure you have the best chances by having a good attorney. Why would a USCIS officer ask for your SSN at a marriage-based second interview? So sometimes they do it for identification purposes, verification purposes. For T visa, does the victim do interview? So not always. In a majority of cases, I've they don't do interviews. If there is a special circumstance and they want to speak, they do reserve the right to do the interview, but it is rare. It's not very common. Why? So I answered that. My EAD 150 days and today. What next? Apply for the work permit. What is Form I-290B? That's an appeal to a denial. When to interview from I went to interview from 15th of June and all now I don't hear anything. So yeah, you can always give them a call to find out. It just depends on what's going on the back end. Why would so I answered that about the SSN. How do I know if I am a dual citizen? I don't speak to either parent to be able to so this is where it's important to just schedule an appointment. We can talk through the circumstances here to determine whether you've gained citizenship. My expedite request for asylum case got approved. How long will it take for the interview? Now, believe it or not, when an expedite request gets approved, that could still mean months. I often say an approved expedite request sometimes even means 4 months from the date that they approve that expedite request. Hopefully not in your case, but it could go weeks or months. I have a green card through marriage. Can I qualify for food stamps if I'm married? So now keep in mind that um, there are exceptions in some cases when the food stamps are for the benefit of a U.S. citizen child, but you will need to be upfront, honest with the social worker or the caseworker, and they can help you to determine whether you qualify for those food stamps. How soon after requested medical do you get a response? So it can be anywhere from a few, I would say about 2 months is what I'm seeing, but it can go on longer just depending on how busy the office is. When do you get an interview for citizenship after the biometrics appointment? So interviews can go from 2 months to 8 months. How long after the TV is approved do I receive work permit and social? Right away? You get it right away in the mail. Petition withdrawn. So I answered that. For marriage green card, if I live in the US and my spouse lives in JA, what form should I complete? So you'll start with the I-130. Thanks so much, Shay. I appreciate that. Can I call the number? No, absolutely. That there is going to be someone answering the phone. So go ahead and call. How long after biometrics appointment do they normally answer that? Got a denial for N400, then I reapplied and also appealed as well. So there is an appeal process that you can submit 30 days after, up to 30 days after, and then they will schedule another interview where an officer will look at that application again. Do I need to renew my TPS? I'm waiting for my green card interview. So it's really, I don't like risk. So if you can, I would still apply to renew the TPS. I know it costs money, may cost money to do that, but I would still do it as a plan B, as a fallback option. Um, you know, just in case something is delayed with that green card, you still have your status. If I overstay and get the T visa, will I be banned after the T visa expires? So you can extend the T visa, and guess what? You can apply for your green card. So you have many options. You have two solid options going forward with the T visa. And the green card is a definite. So once you get approved for the T visa, you can actually start exploring applying for the green card. How long after submitting I-130? So I missed that one. How long after, let's see. How long after submitting I-130 do I get a response or receipt notice? I'd say about 2 weeks. Visa options beyond H-1B for doctoral graduate. So it's gonna depend on your goals and qualifications. Any news for VAWA? Been waiting for 5 years now for the green card. Wow, that's extraordinarily long, and there may be something going on. You want to definitely look into that. You only assist people moving to the US, not UK or Ireland. That's right. So I don't work in UK or Ireland. I'm only a US immigration attorney. Is it possible to get an email that action taken but no update on online portal? Yes, it's possible. I lost my 2 years marriage green card. What should I do? You'll have to apply for a replacement. Um, though it's expired though. So you have to go, if it's already expired and you've already submitted to remove the conditions on your 2 year, you need to go and you get the I-551 stamp. And that usually can give you proof of your permanent residence. Petition withdrawn, I-130 after. Okay, so I answered that one. Just got work permit yesterday. My name is not the same as it is on my SSN. What should you do? You're probably gonna have to go for a correction. Usually they don't charge if it's their fault, their typo. For a green card, do you recommend getting a lawyer or do it on your own? You're never going to catch me saying don't do it with a lawyer. I've seen too many messy things happen when people do it without a lawyer, because immigration law is not just paperwork. It's really complex law. The tax law and immigration law are two of the most complex types of laws. And I think a big mistake people make is to think it's really simple. It's just a matter of filling out some forms and they get into big trouble. I see it all the time. I have the parole to travel and work, always sending prima facie. So yes, a prima facie, getting renewed prima facie is always a good thing. My case is 11 months now. I've received work permit and AP done biometrics. Is that good? Yes, your means you can move along while they're deciding your case. I-130 approved, I-485 was denied. Then you have to there is an issue there. So they're saying you don't qualify. Hello again. My sister has received a third prima facie determination letter from USS and processing time has passed. Does that usually happen in this case? So it's right now, VAWAs are going for about 3 years. So getting the third one is pretty normal. What is the process after more than one missed biometrics appointment, not as a result of the applicant? So if it's not your fault, they'll probably just send a rescheduled appointment within a month or two. The downside is that it just gets delayed. But if you miss it and you don't contact them, then they can possibly assume you're abandoning the application and deny it. So very important that you attend the appointment. What are the things someone will see or receive to know that his VAWA case is going well? So the prima facie is a good sign. Prima facie determination letter is a good sign. My husband did I-130, 485, and 765 for me and my daughter. My daughter's scheduled for biometrics, but I'm waiting. Can you tell me why that happens sometimes? Because even though your husband filed those applications possibly together in the same packet, they are still processing them individually. So it doesn't mean that something is wrong with yours necessarily. Sometimes it means that you might have something missing that they want, and so they're moving your child's case along, but not yours. So they're basically processing them as individual, not together. In VAWA, after you get your work permit and EAD, combo card, advance parole, how long till you get the green card? So remember, the whole process from beginning to filing is about 3 years right now. Hopefully they'll reduce the time, but it's about 3 years. Once you get approved, then you get the approved for VAWA at about the 2.5 year mark. Then they work to get you the green card. But in the meantime, the main benefit here is that you do have your work permit and your social security number and your travel document that helps you to move forward with your life, build a life here until you get your green card. As a non-citizen, how can you prove good moral character if you have a dismissed criminal record? Also, is it okay to expunge before filing for any benefit? Good question. I want to tell you this. No matter how much you expunge your record, you have to disclose your arrest or your conviction. In not disclosing it, because you expunge it, it can lead you to a lot of big problems. So under immigration law, it doesn't matter you got it expunged, you still have to disclose it. So it doesn't make a difference here. Now, when it comes to a case being dismissed, it usually, unless there's some exception, usually means that it's not going to be held against you. Unless you had to plead guilty, then it may be. But if it was dismissed without you pleading guilty, then it may not be held against you. You still have to disclose it, but it may not be held against your good moral character. Please, what are the things someone will see? So I answered that. Good evening, Joe, Jude, Mechard. It's nice to see you. Good evening. All right. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. I see a ton of questions coming in on Instagram. Put your questions in. I'm going to be going through and trying to get to everybody's. Hi there, Michelle. Good evening. How long is it really taking for the I-130 petitions? So it's a 9 to 12 months. Can I have a travel document before green card if it takes longer than I think? It's a marriage-based green card. Yes, you can get the travel document before the green card. You have to apply for it. Can you please explain green card through 245I from brother and sister? So I can do a whole live on 245I. It is referred to as a sort of uh, what do you say? So it's looked at as a way to gain status here and get your stay here and get your green card. Even though you're here, you may have come in illegally through the border, or you may have overstayed, and usually you don't qualify to for adjustment of status. But this section, so it's under INA section 245I. And it says that if you you had a filing on your behalf, or you were the derivative on a filing on or before April 30th, 2001, and sometimes it has some physical presence requirements, then you can qualify to stay here. And you probably just pay a fine and still go through adjustment of status and get your green card. So that is the basically the gist of the section 245I. So if you've had any kind of filing, or your parent had a filing and you were on the paperwork, even if it didn't go through, but it was approvable, it just didn't go through for some reason or the other, or you could have been a derivative on that application on or before it was filed on or before April 30th, 2001, then you could qualify for this sort of safe harbor type of law. I'm working on a J1 visa. How can I apply for a green card? So going from J1 to green card is not a direct path, and you have to qualify like everyone else for employment, family-based, humanitarian-based green card. How long does it take to get your employment card after you received a notice by mail? So about 2 weeks right now. My brother holding B2 and is planning to come to the USA. Is there any chance that he can change his status uh, to B3? So I'm not sure what B3 is to from B2 to H2B visa, if there's company who is willing to sponsor him. So it may be possible to change to H2B status, which is the status means he can stay here and do work, but the minute he leaves, he has to go back to the embassy to get a visa. So that it may be possible if a company is willing to submit the documentation. How long after biometrics does person usually take to receive work permit through VAWA? So I would say 8 months to 12 months. How long does it take for the removal of condition? It's taking 2 to 4 years right now. Asylum case pending over 10 years, what can you do? So it's just going to depend on what your circumstances are. An expedite request may be what you have to do if you do have the right evidence and justification to speed up your case. Asylum case, also I answered that. So asylum case is pending for over 10 years ago. Mom is married to US citizen. I'm 21 years old. Is there anything I can do? So unfortunately, since you're already 21, it's going to be a 5 to 7 year process. If when your mom gets a green card and wants a petition for you, it's a 5 to 7 year process. So it's probably not going to be a better option. How long after concurrent filing of AOS can you do a VAWA application? I got my EAD and through E. So I'm not sure if you are talking about switching from marriage base to VAWA. So there's no time limit. If you need to apply for VAWA, you apply for VAWA right away. There's no waiting. I'm teaching on J1 visa. What are my options for getting a green card? So there's no direct path. You have to qualify either through through employer, through family members. How soon after marriage can you submit your papers to get work permit and 2-year green card? So there's no rule that says you can't do it right away. But is it advisable to do that? You want to make sure it's going to be advisable to do that, because you want to have the right documentation to build a good case and improve your chances of being approved. When a VAWA case is above 3 years, what should one do? So you can always check, and if you're beyond the processing times, you can move forward with requesting that they push you forward. How if just got fingerprint, get married, but I caught a felony case which will get dismissed? Will that affect me from getting the green card? If it's dismissed, it may not, but it's very important that you get legal advice at this time. Asylum case pending over 9 years. What can I do? Mom is married to a citizen, so I answered that. How long after biometrics to get the work permit? I usually don't count from the date of the biometrics because they're all over the place. I count around 8 to 12 months from the date of filing. After staying in the USA for 6 months on B1 and B2, how can I come back to the USA? So it just depends on whether your visa can take you back, or it just depends on what you qualify for. There's no timeline. Okay, so somebody answered that question. Can your partner stop your paperwork if it already starts? Yes, they can. That's where VAWA is very important. If you're being mistreated or they're using it as a threat, you need to get legal advice and take control through VAWA. How long after concurrent filing, if said, can you? I'm not sure what that is. Is there any chance that I will be hired by the company if I'm holding B2 valid visa while I'm in the USA? No, you're not supposed to work on your B2 visa, but you can, if you're seeking a job, they can decide that they want to hire you and then go through the petitioning process first. Remember this rule. Get the papers first and then you start working. You're not supposed to work for any employer until you get your papers. And if an employer is telling you that it's the opposite, then you know you have to inform them that they need to understand the process, because that's not how it works and it can get you into a lot of problems. Um, okay, my husband did I-130, I-485, since I answered that. Um, Thank you so much. I appreciate that compliment. Someone filed VAWA and they rejected only I-485 for correction. Is it possible or negative things to his case? It just means he has to correct it. So it's negative in that it delays the adjustment of status, but he can always correct it. So please, may I adjust status through marriage if I was paroled by ICE under INA 212D5A? So I believe that is a section of the law where you are paroled based on, and I would have to verify. Let me write it down. But I believe that is a section of the law that allows um, paroles, an officer to parole an immigrant based on humanitarian purposes, urgent humanitarian purposes, and that one you can use for adjustment of status, but get legal advice. Do not take this as I'm telling you to go apply, because this is just general information, and I'm going to also just verify that that's the case. But there is another type of parole called conditional parole, and that's what I want to make sure it's not conditional parole. Conditional parole does not allow you to adjust status. So you have to be very careful with that. So I'd have to just verify that first. But 212 D5A, that's a section, I believe it is. But if it's not, I'll let you know tomorrow. So join me tomorrow and I'll let you know how long it will take for you to get a work permit after you finish your biometrics. So I answered that previously. I go by the date of filing, and it depends on the type of application. How long after filing your papers is biometrics done? I'd say about 2 months after. How many months can someone wait to receive fingerprints on file case? I'd say about 2 months. After you receive a letter saying that your filing is complete and approved, how long will it take for you to receive the work permit? So I'd say 2 weeks. Hi, how long after submitting your immigration paperwork biometrics is done? About 2 months. Can a grandparent who is a citizen file for their grandchildren under 10 years old? Not directly. So you wouldn't be able to just file for your grandchildren directly. How long can I file VAWA after concurrent filing? Okay, so I think I answered concurrent filing. I got EAD from AOS. So if you're going through marriage-based process and you want to apply for VAWA, then talk to us first, make sure you qualify, but there's no time limit. If you need that relief, it's there for you. When do you go face the immigration judge? When you apply for green card or permanent resident. So okay, so I'm not sure if you're going to immigration court, that's usually because you're going through removal proceedings, and that is usually different from applying for the green card. So you want to definitely get some legal advice. My I-130 is going 26 months, and I still not approved. Um, yeah, so that is very long, but it depends on what category you're in, by the way. You might have another 5 years in the process. You might have another 10 years in the process, just depending on who's sponsoring you. I'm 26 years old and I got adopted by a US citizen. Can I get green card if you're adopted? So for immigration purposes, if you're adopted after the age of 16, it's probably not going to work. Can your partner stop your paperwork if it's already started processing? Yes, this is where it's very important and urgent to make sure you understand your options for VAWA if that spouse is using immigration process against you and threatening to cancel your papers, using it or to get you to do things they want you to do. It's time to explore VAWA. We help our clients to get it, and VAWA enables you to continue your paperwork without involving that spouse. Asylum case pending over 9 years. What can I do? So I answered that. That's really the average time right now. Does qualifying for VAWA mean constantly being abused for extended period, verbal, emotional? I like to say this, it takes one instance of some form of mistreatment. So I don't want to just say, oh, this has to be constant. Nobody deserves any kind of mistreatment or abuse at any point. And so we have gotten this for our clients that they have been experienced one instance of mistreatment that can be even one instance can be traumatic for a client, and it can change their whole outlook and cause them a lot of pain. And so it just depends on the facts here, but continuous, I wouldn't necessarily say continuous. I would say though an instance of mistreatment, abuse, extreme cruelty counts to qualify you for VAWA. Also, what will happen to my I-485 if I switch to VAWA? Your I-485 will continue. I usually say this: you cannot afford to not apply for VAWA. because when you stall to apply for the VAWA, then it means that your I-485 can be denied, and your work permit and travel document that are associated with it also become invalid. However, if you apply for the VAWA before your I-485 is denied, it means you keep everything going. You just continue to work on your work permit. You continue to look towards your green card under the I-485, and you can continue to travel under the travel document. So it's a way to keep your process going if you cannot continue with that family member or spouse who's mistreating you. How can someone get copies of their previous DS2 2019 from the J1 program through a FOIA request? What can we do if the H-2B visa denied, since the company has complete papers to hire foreign workers? So that is going to be a more detailed legal question. It just depends on why they denied it. What's the reason? All right. I am going to answer a few more questions, and then I'm going to head out for the day. I'm going to try to make it tomorrow where I can answer more questions. And I can also answer that question about the 212D 5A, whether that qualifies as qualifies for adjustment of status by using parole, if it's the right kind of parole for adjustment of status. Filed to remove conditions last year. My husband filed for divorce January this year. What should you do? It's urgent. You need to submit a waiver request to apply without that spouse. If you don't do that and then you get the 10-year, it may be a problem when you're applying for citizenship. So, or they can call you in for an interview because they can see that the divorce on public record and deny it if you don't apply for that special waiver. We do this for our clients, so definitely get in touch with us so we can get started on getting that waiver in. I'm pregnant. Husband is in Mexico with I-130K3. How can I expedite? You'll have to expedite. PD is 31023. So usually you'll have to call the USCIS to get it expedited, have proof of the pregnancy and any, need for additional support. If it's already approved and it's at the National Visa Center, you have to contact the National Visa Center to have it expedited. Criminal record for over 20 years. Does it have an effect on I-485? Yes, it may have an effect depending on the crime. What happens with parole place marriage with a citizen? With the parole in place marriage with a citizen means once you get parole in place, you can apply for adjustment of status. How long is it taking to receive a work permit after you get the bona fide letter? So if you're talking about the VAWA, I would say maybe another, it depends too. I usually went with a work permit, I just count 8 to 12 months after filing. I really don't count from the bona fide letter. If I file for my spouse under I-130, but I'm a sponsor for my mom in the States, is that okay? That should be fine. A loved one has charges pending. Can he still apply for citizenship? May, but they're not, usually they don't grant citizenship until the criminal charge is resolved. How long does it take to receive a work permit after you get the bona fide? To answer that. All right, so let's see. Can a green holder apply for citizenship and sponsor a spouse at the same time? Yes, it's possible, but keep in mind if your spouse is without status here, they will not be allowed to do adjustment of status until you become a citizen. Can a U.S. citizen father file for over 21 years and unmarried daughter who's in the U.S. and get Social Security and work permit? The short answer is no. If that daughter overstayed and their priority date isn't current, then no, it's not going to happen. If I respond to USCIS RFE, then after 1 month they cancel the RFE, is that a good sign? So I'm not sure what, now if they recognize their mistake and canceled it, then it means that they have no other questions, and that may be a good sign, but it just depends on the reason they gave you for canceling. Question: can I get my green card with a US citizen if he has 2 felonies on his hands? It may be possible, yes, but um it depends on the crime. Under the Adam Walsh Act, if the crimes involved a minor, then he may not be allowed to petition for you. All right, that's going to be it for me today. I see one more here. Do I have to file I-485 Supplement A if I came after 2021? So it depends on, now the Supplement A is going to depend on the basis for applying for adjustment of status. Usually, for example, if you're applying under Section 245I, or under certain other circumstances, like if you came in with a certain visa category. So it just depends on what your category is, to determine whether that's applicable. All right. Thanks so much, everyone. I will come back tomorrow. We can answer some more questions, and I'll see if I can get through those pages to talk about more of those positive changes regarding the T visa, and how are they making it easier for people to get the T visa. I mean, it's already a good time, and here we are getting more gems to be able to advocate for our clients to get the T visa. So I am looking forward to talking to you about that. You're welcome, Marcia. You're welcome, Miss Good for Me. It's always good to help. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.